Have you ever wanted to step away from the world for a while? To be transported to a place where you could just get away from all the little things in life? Well, luckily, we can do this right in our own living room. That's right, I'm talking about the world of video games. Video games have been around since the 70s and have become a large part of society since then. Personally, I have been playing video games for a large part of my own life, and I can attest to their usefulness. So today I will discuss video games' origins, where they are today, and the impact that they have on today's society. To begin, according to the Education Online Database Online's timeline, the first console ever made was the Brown Box in 1967 by a German engineer, Ralph Baer. Unfortunately, this was not very popular since there was not a large demand for video games at the time, but it did spark the demand for video games as a whole, and this spark quickly grew into a fire going into the 70s with the popularization of arcades. Some notable and very popular arcade games that were made include Asteroids, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong, and Pac-Man. These video games started increasing the demand for video games as a whole throughout that time, so the natural progression would to put video games in people's homes. And the company Nintendo really excelled at this. Nintendo made their NES system, or Nintendo Entertainment System, in 1983, and that also was able to support many new games that were coming out. Some notable ones are Super Mario, Legend of Zelda, Mega Man, and Metroid, among many others. The consoles then moved on from Nintendo with Sony and Microsoft, now quickly taking over that the console supremacy. Sony using their PlayStation line and Microsoft using their Xbox line. So moving on from the earlier years, we can now go on to the video games we see today. So since technology has come so far in these few years, more creativity is being supported every year. Video game designers can create visually stunning games, either based with like the realisticness of them or just their own artistic style. They also are able to develop more complicated stories and be able to tell them in a more efficient way. And within these stories, it is becoming more popular to include moral decisions that the players must make, and then these decisions would affect the story as a whole. So you could have multiple playthroughs but experience different things based on your decisions. Another aspect of these games that I personally enjoy is the multiplayer aspect. That is, you can play with anyone around the world at the same time from your own living room. Personally, I love this. It basically allows me to play with my friends that I don't see in a while, and it gives me a very satisfying experience. So moving on to the impact in society, due to the nature of the games that we see today, they do have a quite noticeable impact. First of all, these games create a large amount of revenue with their popularity. According to the report Video Games in the 21st Century by Stephen Sewick for the Entertainment Software Association, in 2012, the video game industry produced over $4 billion towards the gross domestic product. In addition to the financial impact, this industry also has an impact on the players themselves. From an article by the American Psychological Association, studies have shown that video games often strengthen spatial navigation, reasoning, memory, and perception skills. So this is a very interesting development in video games that they provide such positive benefits. So in conclusion, today I discussed the evolution of video games and shared their impact on society. I did this by going over the video games' origins, then moving on to the video games that we know today, and then finally sharing the experience or the impact that they have on society. So if you ever feel like checking out for a while in your own living room, give video games a try. You'll like it. These are my note cards. Thank you.